friend of mine is a very powerful leader, and my friend is right here, the president, also the general, you know. Sometimes I call him, usually I call him the general because he's both, and he's good at both. And they've done a fantastic job. And they have very little crime, you know, because they don't play games, that's why. They don't play games like we do in the United States with governors that have no idea what they're doing. But they don't have crime. I ask about crime and they almost don't even know what I'm talking about. So it's a great tribute to this man. He's done a fantastic job in bringing this country together. And the United States is with him all the way. Thank you. Okay, all the way. And it's an honor to be with you.
Sir, what will Egypt's role play in the peace process here?
He played a very important role. And they had a very important role with Hamas. In fact, the general was right here, was very instrumental because Hamas respects this country and they respect the leadership of Egypt. So he played a very important role. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Thank you.
President Trump, in Israel just now, you were talking about a possible Iran peace deal. You said, we are ready when you are. Yeah. Is that the ultimate goal with today's signing to get enough?
Not Iran, but I think Iran will come along. They've been battered and bruised, and you know they need some help. They have big sanctions, as you know, tremendous sanctions. I'd love to take the sanctions off when they're ready to talk, but they can't really survive with those sanctions. Those sanctions are very tough. But at some point, they're going to say, "We want the sanctions off." We're going to end up with peace. I think Iran is going to be fine. I know so many Iranian people. They're great people. They're smart, great people, engineers, lawyers. I mean, they're academics. But they took a big hit. And frankly, if we didn't hit them with the nuclear, I don't think you would have been able to have this incredible, this deal, this once-in-a-lifetime deal. Nobody's ever seen anything like what's happening today. And countries have all come together, all different countries. Some liked each other, some didn't, most didn't. And they've all come together. Every country has come together. And by the way, Iran did put out a statement, you know, that they support this deal very wholeheartedly. So that was in itself something. But no, I think they want to, that's all I do in my life. I make deals. And they want to make a deal.
President Trump, now that the living hostages have been returned, can you please tell us what the next steps are?
Well, they're going and looking for bodies. It's a pretty gruesome task. And they know where numbers are, as you know. I guess 5 or 6 are in yet now. But they're looking for bodies. They know the areas and the search parties out, and they're doing it in conjunction with Israel. And they're going to be finding quite a few of them.
President Trump, can you tell us when phase 2 of the negotiations will begin?
Well, it started. I mean, it started as far as we're concerned. Phase 2 has started. And, you know, the phases are all a little bit mixed in with each other. They're going to start cleaning up. You look at Gaza, and it needs a lot of cleanup. That's why when I talked in my speech, I talked about the debris. I used the word debris. That's debris times 10. So, but they're going to really do a job. They have a lot of power. In another room, you have the wealthiest, some of the wealthiest nations in the world. All leaders, the big leaders are here, the emirs and the kings and everybody, and it's a very interesting group. I guess we have like 35 countries, and that's only because they were the 35 that we invited. Everybody that we invited came. So there's a lot of respect. And I think you'll see some tremendous progress, both in the Middle East. This country is doing very well. It has good leadership. It's about leadership. And it's really nice when you say, how is your crime situation? And they don't even know what you're talking about. What do you mean crime? We don't have crime. Because if he has crime, he puts it out very quickly. Some people think that's not nice, but I think it's great. Because people don't want to be mugged and smashed, and they don't want to be stupid people. They have a place that is doing very well. We're very proud of him because we knew each other from the beginning. The first time I met, it was in a hotel, and I was going to meet him, and then Hillary Clinton was following me. Remember Hillary Clinton? And he liked me so much, he never even got to see Hillary. He saw her for about 2 seconds. But he didn't really want to waste a lot of time. He knew what was going to happen. But that was the first time we met, and we had a very good chemistry together. And it continues till today. So I want to thank you all very much. I appreciate the way you covered this really momentous, I've never seen anything like it. The level of love, the level of respect for what it is. And it's, you know, it's peace in the Middle East, and everybody said it's not possible to do. And it's going to happen, and it is happening. It's before your very eyes. And that's why it's become so fascinating. Marco, do you have anything to say?
Egypt's been a phenomenal participant. I think both Steve and Jared will tell you the critical role they played, and they can tell you themselves. They hosted the talks here, and they're going to play a very important role now in the follow-up, the implementation of this, which is really, it's not simply about restoring Gaza, it is about transforming the region. So we have an incredible partner, a long alliance, very capable partner here, and a tremendous collection of leaders. This is clearly, in my mind, I think in the mind of everyone in this room, probably one of the most important days for world peace in 50 years. And that's not an exaggeration.
Only 50?
Maybe 100. Certainly since the end of World War II, Mr. President.
Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Kushner, I'm curious, you played such an important role in the tactical negotiations here. What will your role be going forward as a lot more has to be brought to the table here?
Oh, the minute we had inked the deal, Jared and I were already working on the implementation side of the deal. So we're dug in. We'll be here quite a bit. That's at the direction of the president. That's probably going to be one of the most important phases here. Jared is remarkable to work with. I talk about it all the time. And of course, we both love working for the president. So it's feels like a very honorable job.
Mr. President, would you like to say something with the interpreter?
Yes. اسمحوا لي في البداية أن أنا أرحب بفخامة الرئيس. وأنا سعيد وكل شرف في وجودك في التسجيل في شرم الشيخ مدينة السلام. يسمح لي فخامة الرئيس أن أنا اسمي باسم كل المصريين يمكن حتى بكل محب السلام نوجه لك التحية التقدير والاحترام على تحية هذا الإنجاز الرائع والمسيح.
Well, first of all, Your Excellency, I welcome you to
all the Egyptians and all peace-loving people salute you with all respect for this great achievement.
Around the world, salute the appreciation and the respect for this unprecedented and momentous accomplishment by your hands.
أنا كنت متأكد فخامة الرئيس أنك الوحيد القادر على تحقيق هذا الإنجاز وإنهائه.
I've been very confident that Your Excellency is the only one who is capable.
I was certain, Mr. President, that it is you, only you, is capable to make this achievement and to end the war.
أنت وحدك القادر على تحقيق السلام في منطقتنا.
I even said that very precisely during my communication with Your Excellency. That you are
during my communication with you, I mentioned this precisely. I told you, only you, is capable of making peace. Once again, I thank you, Mr. President. Now let's proceed with the agreement enforcing the ceasefire, having all the captives released and unfortunately the remains of the deceased, and also the entry of the relief aid in order to proceed with the remaining phases of the agreement.
And working very closely on following up the rest of steps that should be taken to make this successful.
Mr. President, you did very great. Thank you.
That's very much. Thank you.
He's a good man.
Thank you.
He's a good man. We're with him all the way.
Will he be on the board of peace, sir?
I'd like to have him on the board. I'd like to. We may need an interpreter, but that's okay.
So long as the president is present, I will be too.
The Board of Peace, I'll be there.
We've had many leaders want to be on the board, actually. The Board of Peace, it's taken on, Steve, I'd say a life of its own. Do you want to discuss that, what's happened?
I think we have a long list of applicants to be on the board.
Everybody wants to do it. That's very nice. That's better than the other way. Usually it's the other way. Nobody wants to be on the board. But it's really taken on, this whole thing has taken on a life that's very different. So it's been really a great honor. And you people have done a fantastic job, I want to tell you. We appreciate it very much. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, thank you, guys.
Hold it 1 second.
I would like, Mr. President, to be on our side with the reconstruction and rebuilding program.
For the reconstruction.
Thank you. 100%. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you, Brad. You guys, let's go. Thanks, guys. Let's head out.
Hello, I'm Marlene Saeed. It's just gone 10 minutes past 15 GMT. You're watching Al Jazeera's continuing coverage of the first phase of the 20-point ceasefire plan for Gaza. In the past hours, we've watched as the Israeli military released nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners in exchange for the 20 living Israeli captives. That was, of course, shortly followed by President Trump's address to the Knesset. Now, of course, our attention turns to Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. We just saw US President Donald Trump seated side by side with the Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Together, they are hosting a peace summit. Let's go straight to Mohammed Jamjoom, who joins us live from Sharm el-Sheikh. So, Mohammed, after quite a significant delay, 3.5 hours, I believe, Donald Trump just arrived in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt for the second phase of his Middle East visit. What are we expecting from the next few hours?
So, Marlene, the schedule that we'd received up until now has been quite vague when it comes to the details. What's expected is that there will be discussion about the next phases of the ceasefire, that these diplomats and world leaders and regional leaders will be meeting and discussing it, that there is expected to be also a signing ceremony for this peace agreement, a formal signing ceremony as well. Now, it was interesting, the tone of this thus far, very positive, which has been the case throughout the day, even with this long delay as far as President Trump getting here to Sharm el-Sheikh, being over 3.5 hours late. Fact of the matter is, a lot of momentum here and a lot of people saying they believe this shows the goodwill that is being shown by all of the participants of this, not just President Trump, not just President el-Sisi of Egypt. They are co-chairing this summit, of course, but also by all the other world leaders who are present. Now, we just heard a bit of an informal setting, remarks from President Trump, President el-Sisi, as well as other members of the American delegation that we were just listening to. And some of the interesting points we heard there is that President el-Sisi was thanking President Trump, saying that only you, President Trump, could be capable of making peace here, and that we now need to proceed with this agreement to try to enforce the ceasefire, try to make sure that the entry of aid goes forward, that there is rebuilding going on, that aid is getting in. That's what's of paramount importance. And that's really been what we've heard throughout the day. The fact of the matter is that everybody who's here is aware of the fact that getting to this stage, that was difficult, but that proceeding will also be difficult. Even though it's expected that this 20-point plan will be formalized, will be formally signed by everybody here this evening, the fact of the matter is that everybody is aware of getting to the next steps. We're only in the first phase at this stage. Getting into the next step, and the next phase of the ceasefire, that's going to be tricky. And that's why making sure that all of these world leaders here, and President Trump said in those remarks just a few moments ago as well, he said that every country that they asked to participate has come here. And this was done in very short notice, we must remember. So it was a very difficult thing to try to make this happen on such a short frame of time. But the fact of the matter is, now we need to see what exactly is going to be going on in the hours ahead. What kind of meetings are taking place? Is President Trump going to be giving formal remarks? Is he going to be giving a speech? Is he going to be meeting with specific world leaders? We know, of course, that Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani, the Emir of Qatar, is here. We know that many European leaders are here. We know that the Palestinian president, Mahmoud Abbas, is here. There's a big question as to how exactly this plan, if they follow through with all the steps, if they get through the nitty-gritty and all the details, dot all the I's and cross all the T's, if at some point down the road there can be a commitment to trying to find a pathway to a Palestinian state, who's going to be taking over Gaza at some point. There are all these open questions right now. And one of the reasons that this meeting is taking place, this summit is taking place, is to try to make sure that everybody continues to apply political pressure, use the leverage that they have to ensure they are publicly embracing this deal, that they are trying to do everything they can to make sure it happens. We heard there as well from Secretary of State, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He was in the room with President Trump, President el-Sisi, and other members of the American delegation, and he said that this was not just a good thing for Gaza. This was not just about Gaza. He said that this is something that's going to transform the region, and that this is one of the most important days for peace in the last 50 years, perhaps since World War II. Marlene?
Mohammed, it's quite notable you were talking about how important this stage is. And when Trump was asked by reporters there in Sharm el-Sheikh about when the second phase of the negotiations is going to begin, he said it started already as far as we're concerned, which I thought was quite interesting. You talked a little bit about who is there. I wonder if it's also worth highlighting who is not there, because Prime Minister Netanyahu was invited by Donald Trump to come to this summit, but of course he declined a little earlier. There was a little bit of confusion around that. And Hamas, of course, is not there. What do we make about the people who are not attending?
Marlene, I can say that leading into today, it was never expected that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu would be making an appearance here in Sharm el-Sheikh, and it was known that Hamas was not going to be present at this summit. Everything changed when President Trump was in Israel earlier in the day, because, as you mentioned, he had extended an invitation for Netanyahu to come to Sharm el-Sheikh. It was reported that then the Egyptians extended an invitation as well. Of course, that has not been confirmed by the Egyptians, and that was well on the way to potentially start happening. Then there was a statement released by the Prime Minister's office in Israel, which said that because of a religious holiday that he would not be coming to Sharm el-Sheikh. Now, I can tell you that behind the scenes, there's a lot of speculation as to what exactly happened. Many people here believe that there were diplomats that are involved in this that did not want to see Netanyahu here, that just wasn't going to be a good look for them and their constituents, that it wasn't going to be good to have him here in Sharm el-Sheikh at a time when they're talking about trying to affect peace in the region. And that was one of the reasons why it didn't happen. Of course, we're just going to have to wait and see what officially comes out in the days and weeks ahead. But yes, that was a very interesting development, and it really kind of shook the momentum of everything today when we were here waiting, when we heard that potentially Netanyahu was on his way. Was that going to change the dynamic? Was that going to mean that certain delegations perhaps might not travel to Sharm el-Sheikh? At the end of the day, he did not appear. Everybody who was expected did appear. But as I said before, Hamas, it was not expected they would be here. What happened with Israel? A lot of back and forth on that. And probably within the coming days, we'll hear more about what exactly played out behind the scenes on that front.
OK, Mohammed, we're going to leave it there for now. We will, of course, be checking in with you throughout the next couple